International Monetary Fund (IMF) upgrades Nigeria's GDP growth rate forecast. More than $5 billion to be injected into Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Leakages and embezzlement. Federal government takes more steps to save billions. Well, the capital market is still recording lows, hit by global trends. This and more will be coming your way shortly. I am Musa Abubakar, your anchor to take you through the day's business. A very good afternoon to you out there. This is Business Express coming to you live from our Abuja studios. We look at activities in the economy. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has upgraded its growth rate forecast for Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP) in 2019 to 2.3%, while retaining 2.1% for 2018. The IMF announced the upgrade in its World Economic Outlook update for July 2018. The 2019 GDP growth forecast was 0.4 percentage points higher than the 1.9% announced in April this year, though the IMF retained GDP growth forecast of 3.4% for the sub-Saharan Africa in 2018. It upgraded its forecast for 2019 to 3.8% from 3.7% announced in April, attributing it to rise in commodity prices. The Royal Dutch Consortium, otherwise referred to as the Shell Group, has announced plans to inject more than $5 billion into Nigeria's oil and gas sector before the end of the year. The Chief Executive Officer of the company, Ben van Boden, disclosed this while conducting President Muhammadu Buhari on tour of its refinery in Panis, the Netherlands. Adam Musambu tells us more.
The Shell refinery at Panis in the Netherlands is the biggest in Europe and one of the most complex around the world. It has 60 production plants, some of which as old as 60 years. The chief executive officer of the oil giant, Ben van Beurden, told President Buhari that about 20% of the crude being refined there is from Nigeria. He commended the Nigerian leader for the openness, transparency, stability, and reliability of the nation's oil industry. This, he said, informed an investment decision by the company to inject $15 billion in the development of Bonga offshore oil fields, as well as expanding the liquefied natural gas project. Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama told NTA News that the Nigerian economy is to receive over $5 billion of the figure before the end of the year.
With his experience in the oil sector, Mr. President was able to discuss with great experience and knowledge with them. And as a result of that engagement, the investment of over $5 billion by Shell has come much closer and is almost certain now to take place very, very, very shortly. That's very important for our economy, especially the investment coming in through this year, and that was a real a major breakthrough.
President Muhammadu Buhari also undertook a guided tour of the port of Rotterdam, the gateway to Europe, as well as an important logistics hub for global trade. Some 180,000 people work in and around the port, which covers an area of more than 40 kilometers. The goods and services produced in the port's industrial complex have a total added value of some 21 billion euro per year. The managing director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Hadizabala Usman, accompanied President Muhammadu Buhari to the port.
The Nigerian ports and the Port of Rotterdam both operate a landlord model of the port. So that is a key, I'll say, connection between the two port locations. So we're discussing with them on how they can provide us certain technical knowledge on their concession agreements that exist with their terminal operators, and the same way Nigeria too has similar relationship with their terminal operators.
Are there things you have seen here that can be replicated in Nigeria?
Well, absolutely. There are a number of things that we've seen. We would work with the Port of Rotterdam to see how we can add value. One of the things we've seen is the fact that the towage service is being handled by the private sector. Interestingly, Nigerian Ports Authority too is working towards replicating the same licensing regime across our piloted districts, whereby private sector would provide towage services for all locations.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Enalema, says the federal government will by 2020 provide 1.5 million jobs to Nigerians through the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. This was at the first edition of TechnoServe Youth Entrepreneurship Summit in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Abdulafiz Mariam is a small business entrepreneur from Ogun State. Proper stock taking, saving as well as proper time management has been a problem in her business, hence affecting better sales and profits.
This issue of you separating your personal fund from your business fund, it was when I got here that I learned that, and I actually tried implementing that, tried to inculcate that habit into my business, and it actually helps a lot.
Miriam is not the only one with this challenge. Brilliant Obos and a lot of entrepreneurs are facing similar challenges. As part of efforts of reducing unemployment in the country and to coach entrepreneurs on better ways of doing business for good income, over 200 youths have been trained for better output and productivity by TechnoServe in collaboration with some other partners.
First, we build the capacity by helping individuals and communities acquire the necessary skill set, share knowledge and apply the technologies needed to build successful farms and businesses.
Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, Okechukwu Enalema, says the federal government is partnering with different organizations to strengthen the innovative potentials of Nigerian youths to boost the economic growth of the country, with reference to the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government launched in 2017.
There are foundations who want to create 3 million jobs or more in Nigeria with resources. Again, we have to channel all these people to partner with our youth so that the youth can get the benefits of whatever help they want to render.
We're in over 12 months, we're able to graduate 281 youths from this program. 145 of them are either owners, managers, or employees of micro retail businesses, while 135 of them were unemployed youths.
It is expected that trainees like Miriam and Brilliant will effectively utilize this knowledge for greater gains. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Now, agriculture has been on the front burner, with land being the ultimate as Nigeria seeks ways to diversify the economy. Lekatun Babatunde in this report sought answers from an entrepreneur to a question many will want to ask. What is the economic value of land?
Opportunities, they say, abound along the agriculture value chain for income generation and distribution. However, it is believed that the vast opportunities in Nigeria remain untapped, even as the call for diversification persists. Government intensified the quest to diversify the economy after the nation entered its worst recession in decades, and agriculture has been identified as the sure way out, first for self-sufficiency and then the market. The big question is, can agriculture really create jobs?
State can give them these clusters, let's say, for 5 years. They make the money, you bring another group. You let them make the money, you bring another group, and you create wealth.
Hassan Fawaz has been experimenting in how a hectare of land can be used by an individual for all-round production. The poultry serves as a source of protein, both meat and eggs. The droppings then go to serve as manure and complementary feeds for the fish. Draining water, it goes to nourishing the plants, which serve as another source of vitality and income. Hassan believes at the basic level of government, employable persons could be brought together into hubs to galvanize resources in models acceptable to their terrains to reduce over-dependence on white-collar jobs that are not readily available.
Nigeria can't be great unless we are all great. Even every single individual, he has to be empowered.
He says the land remains an invaluable asset to Nigerians, and with proper planning and execution of mixed farmings, the nation will attain self-sufficiency in no time. Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
I'm now being joined by Dr. Sunday Ohene to discuss opportunities for good governance of the agriculture sector in Nigeria within the framework of ECOWAS and the African Union. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's begin with opportunities. Tell us about opportunities in agriculture value chain in Africa and both in Nigeria as well.
Well, the value chain concept has become the basis for the prosperity of our world, especially in Africa, where a lot of knowledge gap exists. And the African Union and ECOWAS have put in place a framework system that provides for knowledge backstopping in such a way that the average farmer or processor or marketer in Africa should be comparable to his counterparts in other parts of the world where we import rice and other finished products from.
Now, let's look at the potentials.
Yes.
The potentials, Nigeria's potentials in value-added change. What areas do you think we need
As
to
a matter of fact, Nigeria is a land that is flowing with milk and honey. Okay. Nigeria is blessed with the best of weather. There is support to life by virtue of the climate, by virtue of the soil, by virtue of the water resources that are all over the place. And as a matter of fact, we can harvest and continue to harvest natural resources. Okay. And we are happy to become the richest people in the whole world.
Now, considering the federal government's diversification effort,
yes,
can you say we are doing enough towards value addition?
I was so glad when I saw Mr. President say clearly that we need to diversify Nigeria's economy through agriculture. That is the correct statement for this environment. As it is now, the value chain system is driven by the market, either the local market or the international market. You need to know, I'm in the global market, and I know that the gap between the value placed on our natural resources at the global market and what we earn, the gap is too much.
Okay.
Basically because we don't know how to take care of the chain. Okay. Each time we go into production, the little we produce and harvest is lost because we don't know how to handle it. Okay. Ideally, once you have harvest, you don't have to throw it on the ground. You don't have to drag it on the ground. You don't have to pack it in any kind of truck. Okay. The facilities are there.
Okay, how do you handle, how does one
internationally?
Okay.
For example, there are solar freezers, 30 tonners that can be used. These containers you see can be constructed as solar freezers that will contain, as you harvest, you put at the temperature that is required. All the tomatoes that are melting is waste of human brawn and resources.
Okay.
There is something we can do about it, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, the knowledge exists.
Okay, let's look at governance now. How important is good governance in the agricultural sector?
As a matter of fact, it's fundamental. Good governance is our ability to establish that framework system that provides entry points for all stakeholders to participate excellently like their counterparts all over the world. But as it is, that framework system is not yet in place for the agricultural sector.
Okay, can you paint a picture for us? What is it that we are doing in terms of good governance in the agricultural sector, and what is it that we are not doing?
I think I should talk about what we are not doing.
Okay.
What we are not doing is putting a framework system that makes it possible for you as an investor to put your resources into the sector in any component, in any commodity, at any level of the value chain, and get your returns. That knowledge and statistics is still not available. You have 5 million to invest in maybe rice production. Are you going to the farm, or are you going to the processing, or are you going to packaging and marketing? Do you have a system that advises you on how to put your money into great use and get returns on investment? And do you know the value of the product you have here on the global market? And do you know how many other derivatives, final products, are coming out of the raw materials that we are harvesting from our farms?
Yeah, so if we are to address this issue,
Yes.
are we to focus on policymakers or farmers as well, both policymakers and farmers? Where do we need to focus on if we are to address
We must start with the policy.
Okay.
The policy must present the framework that protects the producers, the processors, and the marketers, including infrastructure, including security of their investments, in such a way that when they ask questions, there should be answers. And then we should be able to know the value of our resources on the global market. I'm not happy to hear that $1 is 360 naira. How did it come to be? The rice we have is the same rice that every other person has elsewhere.
Okay, what are the opportunities in good governance in agriculture?
The opportunities in good governance is that there will be prosperity for our people. They will produce, process, and market their products and rebuild their own bodies. You see, there's another thing about good health of the population. You will discover that the people in the villages sometimes are healthier than the people in the cities because they have access to fresh foods that have not been badly handled and kept in situations that make them lose their nutrients. Junks. The people in the cities end up eating junks. But there is global knowledge about how to rebuild your system. You don't have to take drugs in order to be healthy. You take food in the right quantities.
Okay, we are looking at good governance within the framework of ECOWAS and
Yes.
Africa as well as Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay, within the framework, how can trade between ECOWAS countries and African Union be improved in line with commitment by heads of governments and institutions?
Now, trade within ECOWAS and within the African continent dates back many years.
Okay.
Pre-independence, there was trade. But we have forgotten that there was trade. And we try to put borders that go against the movement of goods and services. Okay. You cannot organize prosperity based on agriculture and still maintain these borders as they are at this point in time. Okay. I congratulate ECOWAS for the movement of people, the free movement of people and goods. There are still obstructions at the borders that is disturbing the value chain system.
I'm afraid I will have to.
But the truth is that the potential for Nigerians and Nigeria to showcase its wealth in the global community is great.
Okay.
If only we can put our acts together.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunday Ohene.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Moving on. All is now set for the commencement of the National Survey on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises covering the year 2017 from Thursday, 19 July to 2nd August 2018. The survey, to be jointly conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, will involve the administering of questionnaires to selected households and enterprises across the country in all the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. Statistician General of the Federation, Yemi Kali, said the survey is aimed at generating evidence and policy-relevant information on the nature and operations of micro, small, and medium enterprises in Nigeria to help design further solutions and strategies to tackle challenges identified by operators within the sector. The House of Representatives has summoned the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Malam Abubakar Malami, the acting chairman of Economic and Financial Crime Commission, Ibrahim Magu, and the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, to appear before its Joint Committee on Finance and Public Accounts with the details of recovered looted funds from 1999 to date. The House declared that all recovered loots and assets must be duly accounted for. Chairman of the Joint Committee investigating the status of recovered public funds and assets from 1999 to date, Kingsley Chinda, issued the summons Tuesday at the commencement of the probe. Mr. Chinda stressed the importance of the exercise to the economy and development of the nation. Spot trade was thin on Tuesday, with crude oil traders waiting for Nigeria's September programs after the release of Angola's full schedule. Bosede Abel brings us up to speed on how transactions went down.
The Nigerian Stock Exchange extends loss to close Tuesday's session on a bearish note. The all-share index declined 0.81% to close 36,963.73 basis points, with market capitalization at 13.3 trillion naira. 203 million shares worth 2.3 billion naira was traded in 4,178 deals. Transcorp, Access and Zenith Bank were the most active stocks. Top gainers were Dangote Cement, Dangote Sugar and Custodian, while Okomu Oil, Stanbic IBTC and WAPCO topped the losers charts.
To ensure that all public servants are captured on the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPIS, in line with presidential directives, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has begun sensitization to add the military on the platform.
The name you are bearing in the office corresponds with the name you are.
This is an interactive session between men and women of the armed forces and officials of the Accountant General's Office on IPPIS. The Integrated and Payroll and Personnel Information System was introduced by the federal government in 2006 to improve the effectiveness and efficiency in maintaining personnel records, among other factors, in order to enhance confidence in staff cost and budgeting. Since its introduction, 459 ministries, departments and agencies have been enrolled except the military. This gathering seeks to enlighten the military on the process.
But expected to ask, of what benefit will it be to the whole country? The military are part of the country. Managing financial resources of government is not only for one sector, it's for the whole sector. And we know the ministry do not have any ghost workers, but I believe with this scheme and enrollment into the scheme, they will be happier than whatever they may have gotten previously.
The enrollment process will commence on the 30th of July 2018 in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Bitcoin exchange has shown signs of bubble after indicating that it may close down and file for bankruptcy. Let's take a look at developments on the global equities markets.
Asia stocks closed mixed Tuesday as dollar extends gains after upbeat comments from Fed's Powell. Nikkei gained 0.44% and closed 22,697.36. Topix index 0.87%, while Hang Seng index depreciated 1.25% and closed 28,181.68. European shares appreciated, carrying on the positive sentiment seen on Wall Street. FTSE 100 index appreciated by 0.34%, DAX index 0.80%, and CAC 40 index 0.24% and closed 5,422.54. The US stocks closed slightly higher as the strong gains for Amazon and a rebound in Netflix shares helped to aid a big comeback in the previous session. Dow Jones Industrial Average increased 0.22%, S&P 500 0.40%, and Nasdaq Composite Index 0.63% and closed 7,855.12. In Africa, most stocks were on the positive stream. South Africa FTSE JSA Africa Top 40 was on the positive terrain, gained 1.33%. Kenya Nairobi All Share 0.68%, Tunisia Tun Index 0.20%, and Ghana's JSA Composite Index appreciated 0.04% and closed 2,869.78.
That's it on Business Express. Thanks for watching. I am Musa Abubakar.